This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment blog, coming to another edition of MLB observations from the 2021 offseason, entering this 2022 season Hotstove edition week 19. With the lockout ending last week, so many moved. So there's going to be two videos instead of there being one long one, just so it's easier for everybody to consume and for me to upload. Because I made two podcasts this week in order to get all the football stories in because NFL free agency and all the entertainment news. So let's start at the top. Rangers signed Brandon Workman to a minor league deal. The Red Sox Phillies relief pitcher will have a very good chance of making the Rangers bullpen because of Jose Leclerc's injury history and performance recently. So he's going to make the bullpen. Andrew Vasquez, not really. The Jays is going to be organizational depth for them because they're pretty stocked right now. Twins traded for Alexander Confilefa because they refused to play Jorge Polanco at shortstop and put a rise back at second base. People are natural second basemen and guys are natural born shortstop. They traded for Mitch Garver, who hasn't been good in a couple of years when he broke out and had all those home runs. So they're like, we want to get a better shortstop because Simmons couldn't hit, but he could field, and then we can give up one of our catchers. They then, 2 days later, say, nope, we're going to pick up Giovanni Urshela. And Giovanni Urshela, who is a third baseman better than he is playing shortstop, but he's previously played it for the Yankees because they don't want to play Gleyber Torres at shortstop. He's now playing second base. They just said, well, the guy we got 2 days ago is going to swap out for another guy who's marginally playing shortstop and not really best suited to play shortstop. We just don't want to play our guy there, and the Yankees don't want to play their guy there. And then after trading Mitch Garver, the Twins say we're going to trade away a second catcher on our 40-man roster, Ben Rover, and we'll give you Josh Donaldson, who's a big part of this lineup. Okay, cool. All of that to get Giovanni Urshela and Gary Sanchez. You wouldn't have to do a trade for Gary Sanchez if you just signed a free agent shortstop, move Polanco back to shortstop. Now you're down two catchers to get Gary Sanchez, and you get Giovanni Urshela. And the Yankees don't make sense because Rizzo just re-signed for 2 years to play first base. Gleyber's second baseman right now, so DJ LeMahieu is displaced at second base, and they're like, where's he going to play? Well, his value is best suited as second baseman, but he's going to have to play third base. Nope, they just got Josh Donaldson, who's always been a third baseman at the major league level. So it looks like Josh Donaldson should probably become the DH. DJ LeMahieu is going to play third base, and that means Stanton, who can't stay healthy, is going to play left field. So all around, this Yankees, Twins, Rangers, whatever move is stupid. Nationals picked up Steve Chiswick. They're not going anywhere, so he can help out this bullpen and be flipped. Curtis Zucchi's staying in Anaheim because they're not sure what they're doing in general, so it's good to have a veteran catcher. Roman Quinn signed a minor deal with the Marlins. Outside of Avi Garcia, there's no set outfield, so that's a good move by them because he gave a chance to maybe at least make it as a fourth outfield. The Blue Jays signed Yasushi Kasuki to a 3-year deal. People are like, why would you leave Seattle? That's the only major league team you've been on. Well, he was smart because he got the 3-year deal to be not even an ace because Barrios Ryu and Kevin Gausman are the top three. He's the fourth starting pitcher on this team. That is a good move. The Blue Jays are really trying there. Alfredo Rodriguez, a former Reds prospect, has been cut due to injuries. They're just letting everybody go. Miguel Diaz signed a minor deal with Tigers. Organizational depth could be flipped at the trade deadline. Reyes Marana could make the Dodgers bullpen because they always need some bullpen help. So that's a good organizational depth move. Jimmy Acabanis, again, like I mentioned, Roman Quinn. They're not sure what they're doing pitching-wise, the Marlins. He could always be a trade candidate if he pitches well. Luke Malley signed a minor league deal with the Cleveland Guardians. That's a good move. They're not sure what they're doing in catcher with Roberto Perez's injury, so he can always be a good backup catcher. Nico Goodrum, because Carlos Correa is probably not going back to the Astros, and Bregman hasn't been healthy, he can play everywhere. He can be the Marlon Gonzalez who actually field his position pretty well. Shortstop and center field, Nico Goodrum has played. Because they're not sure what they're doing in center field as well. So he could play everywhere, because I'm not sure if they want to turn over a shortstop to Lesmes Diaz. Rockies picked up Alex Colomé. Hopefully it goes better than Wade Davis, Mike Dunn, Brian Shaw, Jake McGee, etc., Jason Mott. That with him and Daniel Bard, it's a good combination to back in the bullpen after a rough season with the Twins. Phillies had the worst bullpen last year, so signing former Mets closer Jeurys Familia to a deal is a good thing because that guy's been a closer before. That will definitely help them out. Iglesias is now taking Trevor Story's place as the Rocky shortstop. He can feel his position, but I don't know. They're not really going anywhere, so it's just a stopgap. I thought they would have had Rogers and Hampson as their starting middle infield because they're not going anywhere, but they signed a veteran. They also signed Scott Schebler to a minor league deal, and with the way they're not sure about the outfield outside of Tapia and the National League getting a DH, Schebler could be a good fourth or fifth outfielder option. That's a good idea by them. Then the O's signed Robin Torino to a minor league deal. They have a number one prospect in baseball, the catcher, at catcher. He's going to play at some point, but due to service clock manipulation, he's not going to play right away. And they wasted Wynn's and Cisco's career with the likes of Sucre and Severino. So Torino's the good enough guy to hold it down and then be the veteran backup. Dodgers picked up Hanser Alberto. He's going to be a useful utility piece just to plug in anywhere at a time, pinch run, all that other stuff. That's a good move because you never know if somebody like Turner or Muncy's going to get hurt. Cubs brought back Jesse Chavez. He could start relief for them, be a trade candidate. That's a good move. Astros picked up Lewis Brinson on a minor league deal. He's proven that at the major level, he can't hit for his life. He really can't. But the Astros, as I mentioned, not sure who's going to play center field, who's going to be the fourth outfielder. So Lewis Brinson is a good fourth outfield piece or platoon guy. Red Sox picked up Jake Diekman and Matt Strahm. When healthy, Strahm can throw like 100. Diekman's been a good veteran relief pitcher. Their bullpen was an issue last year. Those are great moves there. Nationals picked up Airi Adrianza. With the way he was playing for the Braves, people were like, wow, we really need this utility guy. And again, Nationals are not going anywhere. They're not sure how their infield set up. So him as a backup for a low-end deal, that's not bad. Then you got Matt Moore like Workman going to the Rangers in a minor league deal. Matt Moore could start a relief for them because they're not sure what they're doing outside of Jonathan Gray in the rotation. Mets bringing Adam Ottavino if he's healthy to replace Familia. That's a good move. Tim LaCastro, now I'm not sure about his health, but the Yankees picked him up, which will be good depth on the team in case Stanton or Judge get hurt. Or Aaron Hicks gets hurt because he could play all three outfield spots. Then the Nationals picked up both Aaron Sanchez and Anibal Sanchez, a minor league deal. Sanchez hasn't pitched in a year or so, but it's a good move because when he did, he's got a track record of being a good back-end pitcher, and they could always flip him. Same thing with Aaron Sanchez. He pitched for the Giants last year. He's not that old either, Aaron Sanchez. It's been a couple of years since he's been good, but he's battled injuries. So the Nationals could turn in two minor league deals into quality starting pitching, which would be a good thing there. Okay? The Mets, though, after I said they got Ottavino, they went and go and trade for Chris Bassett. And the thing about getting Chris Bassett is he's not even going to be the number one guy. That's DeGrom. And that is Max Scherzer, who they picked up before the lockout. They have Tejon Walker. They got Carlos Carrasco. This guy's going to be at the back of the rotation, injuries withstanding. For the type of pitcher he was just a marginal guy with the A's, and they just held on to him through all the years of injury, and then he had some good year. And they gave him two right-handed prospects that nobody really knows much about. So for the Mets, they solidified their rotation and their bullpen with these moves. The Braves, we know they picked up Matt Olson. But then they said, let's sign him to a 8-year deal. So it's better than signing Freeman, who's already in his 30s, because Matt Olson is only 27, so 35 when this is done, that's a good move. Christian Pache never stays healthy. Joey Estes, Ryan Cusick, those are extra. It's really, can the Shea Langolier become a good catcher? The A's right now is Sean Murphy. So for now, he's the type of guy who could they could Mets be patient on as well. The Twins also, with Kenta Maeda out for the year, made another move. They acquired Sonny Gray to fill in the rotation, and they got a minor league pitcher, and all they had to do was give another minor league pitcher and a draft pick. So the Twins are like, we got Gary Sanchez, we got Giovanni Urshela, and now we got Sonny Gray. So they think getting another former Yankee is going to help them out. That again, it makes no sense to me. The Yankees, with all the moves they made to bring back Rizzo on a 2-year deal, acquire Josh Donaldson and IKF, and trading away their guy, they traded Luke Voigt to the Padres, and they get themselves a minor league pitcher. Okay, so the Yankees don't get much value for Luke Voigt when he was a pretty good hitter for them for a couple of years. That's where I'm just like, I don't really know. And then the A's, who are still fire-selling mode, traded away Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays for right-handed pitcher Gunnar Hoglund, left-handed pitcher Zach Logue and Kirby Snead, and infielder Kevin Smith. The A's are not sure now what their whole entire infield is going to be. So Kevin Smith will get a bat. They're not sure what their pitching staff's going to be a lot because Chris Bassett already has been traded. And a lot of other guys are gone. So some of these guys can start right away or be relief pitchers. So those are those moves. And then the Royals traded Mike Minor, one of their starting pitchers, to the Reds. So he's going to take Sonny Gray's potential spot in the rotation. And they get a relief pitcher in Amir Garrett. So I don't know how that helps the Royals. They're not a playoff team. Amir Garrett doesn't help them. And Mike Minor doesn't really help the Reds because they're not going anywhere. And the Mariners, because the Reds are fire selling, they picked Jesse Winker up and Eugenio Suarez up. All they had to give up was two young pitchers, Brandon Williamson and Justin Dunn. Again, They're not going anywhere. They can use the young pitchers. And Jake Fraley, because they're not sure about their outfield outside of maybe Nick Senzel, what are they going to do there? And that is where you're like, okay, cool. What are the Mariners doing? Because they really liked the way that Abraham Turo played for them last year at second base. And at the same time, they have Evan White at first base, and they have a lot of guys in the outfield. So Jesse Winker is going to be taking away, in my opinion, at bats from outfielders. If he DHs, he take away at bats from Ty France, Evan White, or Abraham Turo. That's where I don't understand that move. That's where I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. The Reds, I understand. They're trying to completely just not be good this year and not care anymore. And that is where you're like, okay, cool. That's a good idea for them to do that, but they're not really going anywhere. So the Mariners, I don't think, are a playoff team. I feel like it's the Astros division. Yeah, they could finish in second place because the A's are tanking. But still, I don't get this move for the Mariners. I'd like to have Ty France, Evan White, and Abraham Turo as my first base, third baseman, DH combination. You have a bunch of young outfielders like Kyle Lewis and all these other guys, so I don't know what they're doing there. The White Sox, though, they picked up Josh Harrison, Joe Kelly, and Vincent Velasquez. Joe Kelly has been a very good relief pitcher for the last couple of years for the Dodgers in the playoffs and stuff. So pairing with the guy that just signed, Kendall Graveman, before the lockout, Kimbrel, and if Aaron Bummer's healthy, along with what they have in Liam Hendricks, that's a good bullpen. But the White Sox are beefing up their bullpen, but they go outside a right-handed second baseman who's more of a utility guy than Josh Harrison when you have Danny Mendick, Leroy Garcia in-house that are utility guys who play second base. It doesn't really help. Okay, the Sox didn't go trade or sign a second baseman who can help them out now, nor did they even get a good backup catcher because Zach Collins and Seby Zavala have been the backup catchers, and we know Grandal's not going to stay healthy. So signing this Nick Stefano dude to a minor league deal, who rarely played at the major league level. I'd rather have Chance Sisco or Robinson Chirinos or Kurt Suzuki, something like that. That would have been a better move. And Vince Velasquez is gone downhill from when he used to be a solid pitcher for the Phillies to going to the Padres and not getting a single out when I watched him in a game. If Ethan Cass can fix him, that's fine. The White Sox rotation is weakened without Rodon because it's Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Dylan Cease. That's a fine 1 through 3, but you're relying on either Crochet and Kopech transitioning back into being starting pitchers, and whatever you can get out of Dallas Keuchel. Those are 3 question marks as of now. Velasquez is even a bigger question mark, so that makes no sense. I do like the Josh Harrison sign because he's a good clubhouse guy, and he could play anywhere on the field. So it's versatile in that sort of way. Iglesias and Scott Schebler have joined the Rockies. Schebler in a minor league deal has a good chance of making the team off the bench and getting some pinch hit roles, DH roles, backup outfield because they're not sure what they're doing in the outfield outside of Tapia. Luke Malley's signing a minor deal with the Indians is a good deal because they're not sure what they're doing catcher with Perez gone, so he's a good backup catcher. That's where, like, some of these moves that teams sign guys to minor league deal, they could turn out to be helping them or they could trade them. And Iglesias is just a placeholder for Trevor Story, as we mentioned, so I don't know what they're doing over there in the land of Colorado. Robinson Chirinos, in the Orioles is a good move. Alberto to the Dodgers. Jesse Chavez is a swing guy. Brinson is a 4th outfielder for the Astros. The Red Sox beefing up their bullpen. The Nats getting a backup, more making the Rangers. Tim LeCastro joining the Yankees. Aaron Sanchez and Anibal Sanchez, good idea. Then we got Odubel Herrera. He's on a minor league deal a major league deal to stay with the Phillies. Phillies outside of Bryce Harper in right field, and they didn't know what the heck's going on in their outfield, losing McCutcheon and Roman Quinn. So Herrera has a good chance of being the everyday center fielder, a left fielder, or just a 4th outfielder at this point on this team. Pirates claim Aaron Fletcher, and the Cleveland claim David Fry, and Giants claim Jose Gudu, and A's claim Sam Selman. For a team like the Pirates, the Guardians, and the A's, they're not going anywhere, so these are just organizational pieces. Giants without Buster Posey are not really sure, so they need catching depth. So that is where you're like, okay, cool, that's a great move by them. And Geraldo Parra, good organizational depth from the Nationals because they're not sure what they're doing in their outfield outside of Juan Soto, who should be playing left field. Cardinals signed Nick Whitgren. If he's healthy, he's a good relief pitcher option. Okay? Brewers bring back Brad Boxberger. That's a good move because Devin Williams and Hader's a good 1-2 punch. And when Boxberger's healthy, he used to be an all-star caliber closer. Giants picking up Carlos Martinez. Great move, okay? Because Gosman's gone, but they still have a really good rotation, the Giants. So that is where you're like, okay, cool. I think the Giants know exactly what they're doing there, with their with their pitching staff, because if you got Logan Webb, who's pitched really well for them, you still got Alex Cobb, you just picked up Carlos Rodon last week, and you have Anthony Stefani if he's healthy. That's a really good move out of them, because that's where you're like, okay, we got this great rotation last year where we're keeping Logan Webb, Alex Wood, and Anthony Stefani, and you add Carlos Rodon, and you add Alex Cobb, and now you add more people to the rotation. Like by adding Carlos Martinez, adding Jacob Junis, and adding Matt Boyd, they're going all in on getting starting pitchers who some teams devalued and has a chance to be good. So that's a great move by them. They're going all in. Nationals also picked up Rasmus Ramirez, who could start in relief for them, so that's good for them because they don't know what they're doing in the whole pitching staff. Souza making the minor league deal with the Mariners makes no sense because of the moves of Suarez and Winker. There's nowhere I think this dude's going to play in the outfield or DH at first base, so he's going to probably be in AAA. Dodgers signing now Yancy Almonte like they did with Marana. Again, he could probably get time in the bullpen, and that's where I'm like, okay, that's a good deal. Diamondbacks picking up Ian Kennedy to be in their bullpen and they're not going anywhere. It could always be someone that you just swap and you trade out for somebody else. That's something that's a really good deal there for them. A's Austin Pruitt definitely can make the bullpen. They're not going anywhere. Sean Armstrong can definitely make the Marlins bullpen and flip them for prospects. They're not going anywhere. Tigers Drew Hutchison could be a starter reliever. They're not going anywhere. That's a good move on them. Jake Marisnick, as I said, with the Rangers outfield not being 100% what they're doing, at worst, he could be your fourth outfielder that you sign on a minor league deal. That's a good move. Sean Doolittle again with the Nationals. All these pitchers they're getting and players, it can help them out be better this year, but also trade some of these guys for prospects. And Chad Kuhl going to the Rockies can eat a bunch of innings that Jonathan Gray had vacated. He's not the level of John Gray, but Chad Kuhl could be a good fifth starter for this team. We already mentioned Matt Olson and Jesse Winker and the Sanchez and Urshela trade. Dodgers signed Jake Lamb and Mike Wright. I can see Mike Wright making their bullpen. I can see Jake Lamb, if there's injuries, being a corner infielder. I don't know about corner outfield, but DH pinch hitter. Not good for the Diamondbacks. Zach Allen, questionable opening day. Giants DFA Caleb Barger because of all the guys they picked up. And Hunter Harvey, who I thought they should have kept around as a reliever. Alizé for the Cubs is on the injured list with a shoulder. Probably losing his spot in the rotation. And the Brewers signing Andrew McCutchen is the last thing that I'm going to get to in this first part video, is that I like the Brewers' moves of getting Hunter Renfroe for Jackie Bradley Jr. They won that trade. Renfroe, proven he can play great right field. He can prove he's a consistent hitter. The National League is getting a DH. He can become a DH if you need to. Or McCutchen will become the DH. Or Kristen Yelich can get a bat to DH to keep the man fresh. And you got Lorenzo Cain. Those are right there, four good outfielders that a lot of teams wish they had. That will definitely help the Brewers try to compete with the Cardinals, who have a great outfield of Bader, O'Neill, and Carlson, and Lars, Nootbaar. So they try to compete. I don't know who's going to line up who's going to line up in right field, who's going to line up in left field, who's going to DH, but that is a good thing for the Brewers. And I already mentioned Nick Stefano going to the Sox, a minor league deal, and how all these teams are signing backups to major league deals, to minor league deal. The Sox could have signed any one of these guys for the money that they're being paid right now, and the Orioles kind of green signed a minor league deal. And then the last two things are the Rangers signed Dan Winkler. I want to get this thing like Workman and Matt Moore, good chance of making the team. And if they don't make the playoffs, swap the guys at the deadline. Same thing with Chase Anderson. If he's healthy, he can start a relief for the Tigers. And Liner Farnaway is always good to have around as a third or fourth catcher because the Tigers are not sure what they're doing in catching. Thanks for listening to Week 19, Part 1 of the 2021 MLB offseason 22 seasons coming. Hotstove edition. For On the Radar Blog, I'm Radar. Check out the second video.